I hate the beginning of the process because it's truly terrifying. In every sense, that's musical, artistic, everything about it. I absolutely enjoy and get super excited when the music has like some... It's hard for me because as the songwriter, the words are such a massive thing, a structural thing, and I've never ever found them easy to do. I've never found that process easy to do. So I use everything around it to try and help me with that, you know. So once the words form, then everything tends to come to it, gravitate towards that. But finding that thing is like, you know, wandering around in a dark maze until you hear that sound, till you hear that the little voice goes, it's this. And then when that happens, the light pours in, and you have this amazing moment, and then it's like, and then when it's finally finished, it absolutely doesn't feel like yours anymore, and that works on every level. And then it becomes transparent. You can't see it, you can't hear it, it doesn't exist. You can listen to it, but it doesn't exist. It doesn't speak to you anymore. You can't hear anything. It becomes blank. And then, if you're me, you're on a tour bus somewhere, and you get off the tour bus, and there's some kid standing there with the record cover, and he's sort of talking about what it means to him, and then you relive it. Then someone gives it back to you that way, or on stage. I guess what we try and do anyway is, you know, whoever's doing the video, try and just be as encouraging as we can, and try and give them as much free rein as we can, because, you know, I just don't know enough about it, really. You know, it's kind of obviously extremely stressful thing, because personally I can't get involved, I don't understand it, and I don't have an eye for it, you know. But you know, every band knows how stressful it is making videos. I mean, for example, like, you know, Paranoid Android, you know, the only thing I had for that was, the only sort of spark I had was a bit in the film Being There. There's a bit in that where he's sitting there with a big fat remote control in the limo, and he's flicking between the channel, and this thing comes on, and it kind of looks a bit like Sesame Street. I think it is Sesame Street, it's one of those. And the combination of that and what's going on, for some reason, that made sense for Paranoid Android. I mean, how do you translate that? But then at the time that we were finishing the album, Stanley Donwood and me were finishing the artwork, and we were getting out of our heads every night, putting on this Magnus Carlsen video of Robin, and it was like every night was, well, this is Paranoid Android, you know. So we were just lucky because he wanted it to do it, you know. I mean, the thing is, it's so stressful because it's like, where now, you know. It's really odd. It's quite interesting because, like anything, it gets trivialised and turned into something stupid. I definitely had a real moment after OK Computer when I heard other people imitating things that we'd done and really didn't like what it sounded like, and really had this kind of, my God, this is really self-indulgent. Have I been responsible for this? That's really awful. A lot of what drives me in music is depression and personal things, but there just seemed to be this indulgence that I never wanted to go near again. And also, I think more to the point, I suddenly realised that a lot of the problems I had weren't actually internal, they were external. They were to do with my immediate environment, my upbringing, the way I saw the external world, and I'd spent a lot of time internalising it because it's the only thing I knew how to do. I hate it. It's just awful. I really, making this record was really good fun, and then finishing it was a fucking nightmare. It was horrible. It was everything was really spontaneous, and then we had to mix it, and everything just went wrong. Because you know, I mean, we were recording, we were doing like a song a day, and we were working really, really fast, and then suddenly you're presented with it as a finished thing, and suddenly you have to start thinking of it as an album, and you suddenly start having to think about the bullshit that's going to go with it, and you have to start thinking about the British press, and you have to start thinking about how something you may have meant completely genuinely will be taken as something else, and it's out of your control, and you have to say goodbye to it. And, I mean, there's obviously you have to say, you know, you do a piece of work and you feel really passionately about it, and you have to say goodbye to it. But for me, this particular record was really difficult to finish, because I really loved it, and then I got to the end of it and hated it and never wanted to hear it again, and it was very upsetting. And so it's kind of fun to play it live now because I can get it back. But I mean, I absolutely cannot listen to the record ever again. I kind of always do that, but this has been the most extreme, which is a shame.
I'd got like a few nasty stroke personal reviews about like me as well, you know, not just about the band or whatever. You know, this man is ugly, this man is whatever, and it's really personal stuff, and it really got to me because I was trying, you know, and then we went stateside, and then suddenly, oh wow, this great big world. I seem to spend most of my life running from either being completely super confident to completely super paranoid. That definitely fed both elements of that. I remember there was some Steve Wright thing when they did a version of Creep, and it was they changed one of the verses and said, oh, we're just a bunch of melodramatic schoolboys. I thought, yeah, that's what it looks like.
I got more control freakery. I became more unbearable, more like it's going to be like this or it's not going to happen. I sort of put my hands on the steering wheel and I white-knuckled, and I didn't care who got hurt and I didn't care what I said until the end of OK Computer. I just was white-knuckled. Don't mess with me because this is what's happening. Years later, I sat down with the guys and I apologised. I'm sorry, I didn't realise how bad it got, but that was my way. I dealt with it. And actually, by the time we got to recording OK Computer, the doors had opened up and we had just the best time doing that record because we knew that people were interested in us finally for what we actually were, and the possibilities just seemed completely endless. Suddenly we had all this support and we fought so hard to get it. And I think the problem for me, if I'm honest, is I wasn't enjoying it until later on because I had my hands so stuck on that steering wheel, white knuckling. I didn't want to make a mistake. I was terrified of making a mistake. Yeah, then I realised that the whole idea of sort of using characters like that within the artwork was a really nice sort of offset to the landscape thing, because the characters weren't us. It was none of the band. It wasn't anything, but it was something else. It was like a way to think of a song like "You and Whose Army." There is a character there. There is someone there going, come on. But someone who it's like an archetype, or it's on the edge of being a cliche. Everything's on the edge of being a cliche. Like, I'm almost taking a piss out here, but not quite. There was all that kind of thing. So it really chimed with me that way. And obviously the idea of the Minotaurs and being stuck in one's own thoughts was exactly where I was at anyway.